Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at a hand management card game called Origami. In this game, the players are going to be managing their hand of cards. They're going to be playing cards in front of them, the origami pieces, by discarding other cards from their hand and triggering special abilities on those cards in order to get the most victory points. Some of those cards will have a one-time effect. Some of them you can continue to trigger from round to round. But when the game is all said and done, you'll count up your victory points and see who the winner is. It's a fairly straightforward concept. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll come on back up here after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. To set up the game, we are going to shuffle up the deck of cards, give each player a certain number of them, and then you'll display out 4 of those from the deck. You're also going to give a player the start player marker, which is in fact a piece of paper they include in the game, and they even give you rules how to fold this piece of paper into a nice origami butterfly. However, it will not fit back into the box in any way without kind of getting squashed, so not super useful, unfortunately, but cute. And so once that's all done, you are ready to begin. As you can see, the cards come in different colors, i.e. different families, and they are going to have a few pieces of information, all right? So they are going to have here in the top corner a number. That's how many folds it takes to build this card. Right next to that is how many folds the card provides. And you'll have over here on the side a number of victory points, as well as a special ability all the way down here at the bottom. Each player is going to, on their turn, do one of 3 things, and continue doing so until the deck runs out twice. You'll finish up the game, count up your victory points, and see who the winner is. And so, on my turn, as I said, I have one of 3 different options. I can A, take cards, and I can take cards from here that equal 4 or fewer folds, all right? So, for example, from the ones out here, this provides 2 folds, 2 folds, 2 folds, 1 fold. I could take any 2 of these, or I could even take any 2 of these, right? However, if there was a card out here that had more folds than that, for example, the spider there provides 3, I could only, if I want to take that, take it with the 1 fold card there. So let's say I do that. Go ahead and grab both of those, put them in my hand. I do have a hand limit, but I'm okay right now. And then we will replenish the board. It'll be the next player's turn. Second option on your turn is to play a card in front of you, discarding other cards to satisfy the number of folds needed. So let's say I want to play the raccoon over here. It takes 4 folds. The big 4 there in the corner would let me know that. And so I'm going to discard enough cards that total 4 folds from my hand. The B itself right here to build would take 8 folds, but it provides 4. So great, I'll discard that card and I'll put out the raccoon in front of me. The cards in front of you are going to go into one of 2 collections. First card just goes there. Second card you build will go in the other one. And from that point on, you can put them in either one as long as you remember that the difference between them cannot be more than 1 card. So the next one I build could go there, but the one after that must go here. After that, well, I can play in either one. And the reason there's an option here is because once you play over something, you'll cover up that special ability and you can no longer use it. So, what's your third option? Again, to recap, you can take cards or you can play a card by discarding others from your hand. Third option is taking a special action listed on a card itself, as long as it's still face up in front of you. And these go as follows, okay? For example, our cricket here has a special action that says, draw from the card line 1 card, then play 1 other origami from the same family. Great. So if I choose to do that, I could draw a card out here, like this, and then play another one from the same family, pay my folds as usual. The other kinds of effects on these cards are either instant effects. Once you play this, it'll do something 1 time and that'll be it. This one, for example, the owl says each opponent must discard 1 card of their choice. As soon as this hits the table, everybody else will discard, and then it's the next player's go. The other kind is a scoring card. So you've got your special actions, your instant effects, And then you'll have some that are scoring at the end of the game, such as the ant over here, that says worth 5 VP victory points if you have 2 or more ants at the end of the game. Now that will affect your endgame score, even if it does get covered throughout play. As I said, everyone does one of those 3 actions, continuously going around the game, burning through the deck, then doing it again with a reshuffle in the middle, and then at the very end of the game, you'll figure out what your score is. You'll count up the symbols down the side of the cards, 4, 3, 3, and then see if you qualify for any of the scoring special abilities at the bottom. I've got my ant here. If I'm able to build another one, hey, that's another 5 victory points. Whoever has the highest score at the end of the game is going to be the winner. And as I said, there are a few different families in the game, but you'll only use as many as there are players. There are 4 shuffled in here right now, but there is one that I set aside because in a game with 4 players, I wouldn't be using them all anyway. All right? So that's basically it for the game. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm going to use my target audience system here. We're going to start with thematic ties as the theme original and is well represented and implemented. I think it is, and for one thing, it's unique. It's not a theme I've seen anywhere else, and I like the way that it's been, no pun intended, folded into the gameplay itself. So yes, it gets a pass from me on the theme. Card games oftentimes are going to struggle to feel thematic anyway, and this one I enjoy. I like that concept. The aesthetics, component quality, artwork, things like that. Very nice artwork. I love the look of the cards. They're very clean as well. I like that the powers across the bottom of the cards have a header that not only tells you what kind of effect it is, an instant effect or a scoring effect, but it also has a symbol around that title that very quickly triggers your mind into realizing what it is you're looking at. It's all written out very clearly, and so that's all great. Nice card quality. The only thing I don't like here is the star player marker, the Origami Butterfly, which is very nice, and they give you instructions on the back of the rule book here as to how to fold the little included piece of paper. But once you've done that, you can't actually put it back in the box. So, cute idea, not particularly useful, and you're not going to fold that thing every time you want to play. So that's okay, you know. Replayability. Does the game scale well? Are there new things to discover from session to session? I like that, depending on the number of players, you might remove some of the families in the game, which is going to lead to more replayability. I like that, especially, of course, with a lower player count. So that's neat. You'll be using some families in one game, some types of cards that you won't be using perhaps in the next game, and each one has a little bit of its own flavor. So replayability for small card game is high. Part of that is what I just said, and part of it is all the special powers. Every single card does something. They're not all earth-shattering, and they shouldn't be. That would slow the game down. But they all do something, and that is fun to discover and play with. Game length. Is it interesting the whole time? Does it get repetitive? Anything like that? This is somewhere in the middle of the road for me. You know, there's both pros and cons here. The game is a little bit long. It feels a little bit long, but it's not even it. That's not necessarily the problem. I think part of the issue is that it might take a long time to get to actually build a card, especially some of the larger cards that take, say, 8 folds. You might take a while collecting cards, especially in a larger group. It'll feel like you haven't, quote-unquote, done something in a while, where you grab a couple cards, and then it's your turn again after, 3 other players have gone, and you grab a couple of cards. You might even have to do it again, and then maybe you can build one of those. Again, if you so choose to focus on those bigger number cards, which are more. They're splashier, more victory points, possibly a better power on the card. So the cadence is what I have a slight issue with. The rhythm isn't quite there. But yes, it does make the game feel a little bit long. The idea of burning through the deck twice, though the second time, of course, there will be cards that aren't in it. They've been built. So the deck will be smaller. It's still just a hair long and maybe a little slow, So this, as I said, is somewhere in the middle of the road for me. ease of play. Is it fiddly? Are there too many extraneous rules or anything like that? Or is it a clean design? I would say it is a clean design. I think that again, the powers are well thought out. They're clean. They're straightforward. You don't have to think about it too much so that the gameplay can, hopefully not bog down any more than it already sort of does. And the concept works well with the game. This idea of discarding some cards to play others. Once you've done that, you've probably nuked your hand, which means you're going to take a few rounds just to build back up. But it is simple. The choices you've got on your turn are extremely straightforward. Draw or play or trigger a power, which is not common because you might not have a card that lets you trigger a power. That's it. So yes, ease of play is high for me. Lastly, tactics and strategy. Is the game too lucky? Does it feel balanced? Does it give you interesting choices every time it's your turn? Again, here I would say I'm leaning towards the center. I certainly wouldn't say it's bad, okay? And the game does give you choices as to what you want to pursue. There are always 4 cards up there. You can always take any one of those, possibly more than one. And that's a point of decision as well. You can choose to build any card in your hand. You can choose where that card will go in your tableau if you want to keep something active. You can pursue one family or another. You can concern yourself with just building big splashy things or a bunch of little ones. There are choices there, but the cards that come up and what seems to be often what you can do is going to also, impact your choices in the game. So it does not feel like a big strategic or even a big tactical game. It feels like a fairly straightforward card game with a bunch of luck, and some tactics and some things you can choose. And it's not so bad. I'll say this. It's not so bad that when the game is over, you feel like it played you. You certainly made choices. And if you win the game, you should feel good about that. But it is not a great tactical achievement you have accomplished, Overall, though, that kind of sounds like I ended on a negative note there. I do like the game. It looks really good. It looks great. It's a simple game to play. It's one that I enjoy teaching because it is so pretty and people are sort of fascinated by the origami concept. And it's one that I think I'll be hanging on to, in fact. So I would certainly say check it out. It's a neat one. Just go into it expecting a fairly simple card game. I could see a lot of people out there who perhaps own a lot of different card games not being charmed by this one. If the theme doesn't speak to you and the special powers is not something you're interested in, then perhaps this isn't for you. For me, I like those things, both of those things. And the game certainly looks good doing it. So this is going to get a seal of approval from me. Origami is a nice card game. Definitely one you could add to your traveling collection, let's say. One to keep on your person and maybe pull out at gatherings and so forth and enjoy a little card play. That's it for me, folks. Origami. Check that one out. I'm Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.